Okay, so this is Unit 6. This is video 8. You want to title it Decision Making. So in the last video, we talked about cognition, which is the mental activity of thinking, knowing, and remembering, and being able to communicate. Cognitive psychologists, remember, study these activities, how we solve problems, how we make judgments, how we make decisions. And what we talked about in the last video was mental images. We think in mental images. We also think in larger concepts. Okay, we have abilities to solve problems using algorithms, heuristics, and trial and error. Okay, and this video is going to talk about how we make decisions. So there's different ways that influence us to make decisions, to take AP Psych, to go to the party with your friends. Okay, so these are the different ways that impact our decision making. You have misusing heuristics. You have being overconfident, which can sway you to make a decision. You have what's known as belief perseverance that influences us. You have your intuition, your gut instinct that could influence you. And then you have the framing of the question that could influence you to make a decision. So let's talk about heuristics. Heuristics, remember, is the way in which you solve a problem. It's a simple, basic rule that serves as a shortcut to complete a mental task. Okay, they don't always guarantee the correct solution. All right, there's two different types of heuristics that influence your decision. You have availability heuristics and representative heuristics. Let's first talk about representative heuristics. You may make a shortcut based upon representative heuristics. You may judge a situation based on the likelihood of things in terms of how well they match their prototype. This may lead you to ignore other relevant information. So if you had the statement listed below, okay, Kara is an attractive, fun-loving, enjoys tanning, and attends rock concerts. When people were asked whether she was a teacher or a model, most would say a model because she matches the prototype. You're not even looking or getting evidence to help you, to tell you which one is correct. You're just using a shortcut based off of somewhat of a stereotype. Even though there are far more female teachers than models, the correct answer would most likely be a teacher. However, people pick the model because she meets the prototype. So a lot of the times you use the prototype to help you make a decision, even though it's not accurate. Okay. Another shortcut you use is judging the likelihood of things based on your environment. Okay. What information is available to you can influence why you're making a decision in your life. Okay. So are people more prone to die from a terrorist attack or choking? Well, in today's society, you may think terrorist attack because it's everywhere when you turn on the news or turn on the television. Okay. However, more people actually, once you do the research, die while choking. All right. And we'll look at a couple other examples in class. Another thing that influences you is what's known as belief perseverance. Belief perseverance is the idea that you make a decision, even though you've heard two sides of the story, you're still going to cling to your initial concept after you've been discredited. Okay, so belief perseverance. I told you that Santa Claus was not real. However, and we've talked about how there's no way he can go around the world in 24 hours, and there's no way he can get into everybody's houses. And I've showed you actual factual evidence. Okay, you still cling to your initial conception. All right, so here's a picture below. It says, "I'm so fat," and she's looking in the mirror. All right. However, even though we're providing her with all the evidence of her weight, okay, we're providing her with information on it, she's still going to cling to her initial idea. How this is different from confirmation bias. Remember, confirmation bias is where you're clinging to your idea of your opinion. Confirmation bias, you've had no other perspective given to this. I've not told you other evidence. Belief perseverance is you've been told both sides of the story, but you still cling to yours, okay, which can influence your decision. All right. Another one that we've talked about before with research, why we need to do research, is because of overconfidence. Overconfidence, when you're making a decision, is you think you're right, okay, is the tendency to overestimate the accuracy of your knowledge and judgments. You think you were right. Okay, overconfidence. Some of us are too confident about our abilities and it causes us to take greater risks in our daily life. Experts are more prone to be this bias than other people. Okay, here's obviously a cartoon on the bottom. It says, "I know the last 5 scratch off tickets didn't win, so now you're overconfident that the next one is going to be a winner," which can cause you, okay, some problems in the future. If let's say you know all AP Psych and you're going to do great, that can influence you to maybe do poorly on a test if you don't know all the information that you do need to know. Intuition, again, we've talked about this with research, why you need to do research. Intuition is your gut thought and feeling. Trust your gut. It's an effortless, immediate, automatic feeling or thought. It's an automatic answer that just comes to you. Sometimes, again, this influences your decision, which, if it doesn't have a lot of evidence behind it, it could be wrong. Framing also can influence your decision. Framing is the way you present or pose an issue that can significantly affect your judgment. Okay, the framing is the way in which we state something. Okay, so below, okay, you could phrase the two statements either way. Okay, the first one says it contains 20% fat. Okay, the second one says it's 80% fat free. Both mean the same thing. However, I would most likely choose this one because it has 80% of it is fat free versus 20% of it has fat in it. I would be more likely to choose this one. Framing, again, is the way in which you state certain things that can impact your decision.